Hey y'all, it's April 3rd, 2013. It's Wednesday. This is Scott Warren Wilson. I am at the Western Inn in Livingston, Alabama. I'm making this recording of for Chief Tolliver of the Livingston Police Department. I went to Pizza Hut the other day for the $6 buffet lunch, and he was called. Just another typical call. Unfortunately for my enemies, they sent a police officer, they sent a cop instead of a pig. And I explained to Chief Tolliver that, in spite of what people say, I can prove that I don't have any problem with authority. I have a problem with criminals and liars. Okay. And assholes. Love cops, hate pigs. Even wrote a song about a cop once. And a nice song. But anyway, that particular cop refused to falsely arrest me at my Democratic congressman's office, Heath Schuler, for trying to have investigated the biggest case of sales tax embezzlement, according to two special agents from the Treasury Department that I turned it into, who did a little snooping, apparently looked in his computers and proved it. Okay, they were not allowed to take the case, and it's just crime after crime after crime. I was told to turn it over to the local police, the state police. Of course, they told me to turn it over to the hounding police, and all police started hounding me and hunting me and every damn thing else. And this all stems from my first divorce with my Japanese ex-wife, the devil woman, also known as Kumiko Asada Asada. There may be another name or two or three after that now. But anyway, I just want to put together a few snippets that I'm working on. A lot of people have heard these before. These are just some that I've got snippetted. I don't have my decent external speakers. This is just my bottom of the line factory speakers in my Lenovo IBM ThinkPad. You know, pretty good computer, but my speakers sure ain't beats. It ain't Dr. Dre. So let me just play these, and I'm going to explain them. The first thing you're going to hear is what I played with some folks over at the Mexican restaurant when I was having my Easter dinner on Monday. Tres Hermanos, nice folks over there, that closed on Sunday, so I had my Easter dinner. Monday I had fajitas and some cold beer, and folks were saying this and that, just typical reaction ambushes. And so I decided, well, hell, I'll just prove what I'm saying. There was talk about the FBI and I were going to falsely arrest me, or they're working up a warrant on me for threatening a U.S. congressman. Hell, I didn't threaten with anything but justice, and I can prove it. Not only did my Democratic U.S. congressman try to have me falsely arrested, my Republican senator, Richard Burr, did as well. It's a long story. I'm working on a PowerPoint presentation. I have still yet to solve my hacker problems. Hopefully today, with the help of Microsoft Security Tax and possibly their legal department, I can get those solved today. I've proven hacking any number of times. I proved over at Tres Hermanos the other day as well with a phone call to Microsoft. The tech I was recording, and he said, yes, definitely you're hacked. One more time for Sunday, you proved it again. Yeah. I've got recordings of Microsoft Security Tech saying, obviously I've got a lot of different hackers. I've got neophytes to world-class guys. He said, Scott, this one guy watching you hack right here, he said, looking at what he's doing and some of the things he's doing, Scott, let me put it like this. You mentioned before that you got irrefutable evidence of the involvement of an IT agent in the cover-up of this thing with the FBI. He said, let me put it like this. I can't tell you, given what I'm seeing him do, I can't tell you who exactly who I think it is that's hacking you, but I will say this, and I hope you understand what I'm saying. I don't think a foreign government can keep them out of their computer very long. This particular guy, Dwayne Owens, the IT agent, the computer guy for the actual office, he does the hacking and he does all the, of course, the computers for the office staff, administration, things like that over there as well. He's not a field agent, but yet when I went in to report these crimes and eavesdropping and these tax crimes and all this other crap from the divorce, police profiling and everything else, he was the one that was sent to the meeting room to meet me. Obviously, I knew that I was probably being recorded and videotaped. What the FBI didn't know is that I was recording them. Okay, here's a couple of conversations just to start off to get your attention here of IT Agent Owens. He apologized to me, by the way. The last time I was in the actual FBI office, I gave them enough evidence of crime against me, including the biggest case of sales tax embezzlement in the history of the Carolinas and possibly the entire country. Okay. It's going on in every state with the sales tax, according to these two special agents in the Treasury Department. Unfortunately, they're not allowed to take the case. I spoke to two federal detectives in the Russell Senate office building who were chomping at the bit to, quote, come down south and arrest everybody involved. Told me, Scott, you don't need an investigation. You just need an interrogation. You know, this thing will be over within a week. We can go to all 50 states and arrest people. We can even extradite some of these people from abroad. That's no problem. All we need to do is you just pick, an FBI agent or a government attorney or a cop that you want to go to jail the least. We'll pick them up. I'll go before a federal judge. It'll take 10 minutes. We'll have a warrant for him. We'll pick him up, tell him how much time he's facing, and he'll sing like a songbird. And from your recordings, and as honest as you are, your testimony, you'll convict everybody involved. We just, from the next group we arrest, you pick one. From the next group we arrest, you pick one. It'll be over within a week. And we can hand this over to the Attorney General. The only thing is, we don't take our orders from headquarters. We only get our orders from the senators. Once we reach a certain level of expertise, we are assigned to the Senate, and we spend our entire careers working for the Senate. Okay? It only takes one senator, Scott, and what we're working on is important. But this is the worst thing that's ever been done to anybody in this country, what's been done to you. And the sales tax embezzlement alone is worth dropping the case, not to mention all this heinous stuff against you. And all you need is one senator to tell us, we'll drop this in a second. Not drop it, but we'll suspend this investigation. We'll start yours. We'll be over the week. We'll be back on this one. That was a long time ago. I have still yet, as many senators as I've talked to, and congresspeople, been able to get anything done. Now, quote, these people, unquote, or as I'm most often called, quote, they, unquote, you'll hear me refer to my main most perpetrators, quote, they, unquote, as the puppet master in the singular form. But really, it's like a kabuki play. And I finished university in Japan and did business there for many years. Okay. You've got these people who are put above the law. Okay. And they pull everyone's strings like a puppet master in a kabuki play. Everyone in this country is pulling the strings. The sad thing is, they're pulling the strings of the church as well. They have not just been put above the law, which would surprise the hell out of Dick Nixon, who famously said it's not a crime if the president does it. He found that different. Today, he'd be pleased that he keep his job. Okay. Not only that, these people have been put above the law. They've also been put above God, and they usurp God. I'll show that. Some people may be offended by that, and if you are offended by that, then you should be. When I get this PowerPoint presentation together, you'll see what I'm talking about. I got the software I need just an hour ago from UPS, and I'm putting together files and things like that to do the presentation. And I'm simply doing this recording to cover my ass. Okay, I did this in Nashville, Louisiana. I've been hearing false arrest, false warrant, 2 or 3 times here, and just to cover my ass. The last time I've been arrested more times falsely than I can imagine. Falsely committed, every damn thing else. I've got recordings of mental health care professionals in, 4 different states, multiple ones in 4 different states, saying, Scott, what was done to you is not malpractice. Okay, it's criminal malpractice. Malpractice is an honest mistake by a doctor. These guys falsely diagnose you and accuse you in your divorce of being mentally ill and all kinds of crap. Okay. And what they accuse you of is medically impossible. It's medically impossible for you to be mentally ill that way. It's ridiculous. These things actually happen. A first-year medical student or a registered nurse would know better after 5 minutes of talking to you. Not to mention a doctor. Okay. Not only that, would they know you're telling the truth and that you don't imagine things or you're not married to the president, any of this other crap. And definitely not in need of any medication. Yeah. Of course, I joked that maybe expressing the truth would be good. But you function at a higher level than anybody on my staff, including my head counselor. And you also function at a higher level than a lot of doctors I know. This in spite of all the crime you suffer. You're friendly, you're cheerful, you're even funny. and you're creative as hell. I'd love to see what you could do in a normal situation. Just running a company, doing your regular thing. Leading a normal life. But anyway, mine is not a normal life to live, and this is my cross to bear. I'm honored that God chose me to bear this cross, and I'm very humbled to be bearing it. But anyway, let me just start off here, 10 minutes into this, with just a couple of snippets from the FBI. And again, these are teaser. I call these teaser recordings. Okay, this is Dwayne Owens, who apologized to me. The last time I was in that office, he said, "Scott, I'm sorry." I told him, I said, "Look, you guys are laughing at this shit, and it's giving all these local cops cover fire to do whatever the hell they want to me. I can't walk out my door without a cop following me. It's fucking awful. I'm eavesdropped on all over the damn place. I've had crime after crime after crime committed during my first divorce. That woman and her powerful father, who elicited my father, who's always hated me in this thing, are hounding me wherever the hell I go. I can't even sit through a meal without being harassed. I dare not say anything back, lest I be falsely arrested again. I can easily count 12 false charges. Like I said, in Nashville, Louisiana, I've turned some information over like this, plenty of it, to the, or enough of it anyway, to the chief of detectives there. He said, "Scott, I can't help you here, but if something big happens here that we can see a conspiracy, then we can investigate this larger crime." I said, "Well, the first thing you're going to notice, Brad, is that you're going to start getting false 911 calls. As soon as I walk in somewhere, you're going to be getting false 911 calls as soon as they realize I'm in town." Sure as shit, it happened that first day. Just like me going into Pizza Hut. I went down, I sat down, I went to eat. What happened? Next thing I know, the chief of police shows up. Now, that may not have been as vehement, as some of these other calls, but they just ignored all the false 119 calls. He said, "Look, I'm going to tell all my men to ignore it." And I actually would buy a meal and sit down somewhere to eat and be asked to leave. Of course, I'm a business owner. If I don't like your hairdo, I can tell you, I don't want you in my damn business. That's their prerogative. But of course, I didn't do anything. The cops let me know that. Okay? We're sorry to have to do this, Mr. Wilson, but we have to escort you out. Why don't you try going over there? "Oh, I'm sorry. They did it to you too." But finally, what happened? The quote, they unquote, the puppet master got so damn mad that they couldn't get me falsely arrested in that case because the chief of police had told his men about me and apparently other evidence as well. But they got a city councilwoman who was a businesswoman in town who knew everybody in that little town, okay, whose friend or good acquaintance and friend and attorney of record just happens to be the partner, the law partner of a U.S. congressman, I believe his name is Townsend, as I recall, who is a friend and fellow congressman of Heath Schuler, lo and behold. She called 911, got pissed off, called back because the cops wouldn't arrest me, went before a judge and swore out a warrant on me, and said I pulled a gun at McDonald's on everybody, scared the hell out of a bunch of people, screaming my head off. People running for cover all over the damn place, and if the police won't arrest me, would the judge please have me arrested? He signed out a bench warrant. He believed her, apparently, but apparently it was in her back pocket. Well, of course, I don't even own a gun, even though I'm kind of famous for being a crack shot. And that's one of the reasons I've been threatened with death by the police so many times. That's why I had to leave North Carolina. Okay? I've had cops point guns at me. Say, "I'm going to kill you. You're not going to prosecute anybody." Of course, they were lying pigs too. I'm still breathing, eh? It's just amazing. But anyway, I'm putting this thing together. So let me just start with this recording here. I'm just going to do a few snippets here, and let me start. This is FBI agent Dwayne Owens, and like I say, the last time I was there, I said, "Look, you guys are already turning a blind eye to this, which pisses me off enough. That's criminal enough. But if you get actively involved in this shit, mark my words, so help me God, I'll bring every one of you motherfuckers down." And you could hear, they were in the main office, you could hear all the field agents just dying laughing. The giggling, like little girls, went from that to just derisive laughter. And Dwayne said, "Scott, I'm sorry. You know I'm not a field agent. I'm just the hacker. I'm an IT guy. I do the computers at the office, and they're hacking for them to get a court order or whatever. And that's what I do. Normally, I don't talk to people unless it's something technical that they need me to come in and explain to somebody, or somebody needs to explain to me so I can show them what they're talking about. That's the only time I get brought into a meeting like this. You're right. Every time somebody walks in the door, they meet with a field agent, except you. I'm sorry. The U.S. Attorney told me there were no crimes committed. Scott, I'm very sorry they're doing this to you. I really wish I could help, but I can't. You know? But I've got lesser hackers. I play with some hackers. You know, I've got some hilarious recordings of shit. It's funny. You know? Especially if you're in a coffee shop or a library somewhere on a public Wi-Fi and you know somebody's sitting over there hacking you. You know somebody's hacking you, and then you figure out before it's over, exactly, that's it. Somebody's sitting right there. He's not even, halfway across the country. He's sitting right over there hacking my. Check this out. Yeah. And, but yes, this one guy is something else. He actually, I've proven twice that he has gone into my operating system software. Okay. He's got the codes from Microsoft to actually get into them operating system software. I've shown twice where he's done that. Okay. Now, you've got lesser hackers. Some of this other stuff is pretty good. Could be done by somebody intermediate level of some ability. It's just downloaded, say, a hacker's toolkit from the internet and practice with the programs. Use a proxy server and come in and done that shit and froze files. And like this one computer I've got, this computer, brand new IBM Lenovo ThinkPad, it looks like the hard disk is only 185 gig hard disk. Okay, it's not. They cut it to a fraction of its original size. My other computer, I call it the communicator. It's a little Dell mini computer, just for emails and telephone and stuff like that, VoIP phone. I can only use 10% of the hard disk in that thing, the hard drive, because he has hidden partitions in 90%. Nothing will wipe it out. You can't even put the Dell disk or the system just from Microsoft won't wipe it out. Okay, and that's what I got to work on today is getting this damn thing wiped out. If I could afford it, in 10 minutes I could take it apart and change the internal hard drive out, but I can't afford a new one. Okay, so let me just get going here. And this is me calling Dwayne Owens, a.k.a. Owens, or the computer guy, as they call him. This is me calling him, complaining that the eavesdropping is just driving me nuts. The eavesdropping. Now I've gotten used to it after all these years. And I've got recordings of people from different states that I've never been to before telling me, yes, Scott, we hear your private conversations. We know all kind of stuff about you that we really shouldn't. We read every keystroke on your BlackBerry, your laptop, your home computer. I've had Canadians come up and say, we know you'd like to come to our country, but you never have. We're glad we caught you before you left Atlanta today, because Scott, we, like all 50 states, have had people, since 2009, I've had people do this. For years, you've had people come forward and warn you something about your eavesdropping. Scott, we're so glad we caught you before we left Atlanta, before you left this restaurant and headed back to the Carolinas, because we in Canada, Scott, learn about everything about you just like people in all 50 states do. Okay? But let me just do this. It's 18 minutes into this thing. And let me just start here with Dwayne Owens, and we'll just work through this thing.
I told you what I wrote, and then I said I walked into McDonald's and somebody said exactly what I wrote. And I don't know if I repeated it or if they actually read it. I don't know what the hell is going on. But I was wondering if I could get this thing checked out somehow. And there may be nothing. I don't. There has to be something. There's something that I've got too much documentation in all of this for nothing to be going on. I'm tired of living in this fishbowl.
Okay. Well, there's nothing we can do for you immediately. Just really, that's not something that would be of a law enforcement nature. You know what I'm saying? I really don't even know what this could get, except to maybe take it to a mechanic and have him give it a once over.
Okay, so eavesdropping is not a law enforcement nature, right? Of course, I knew better. I needed federal law. Okay. Now, this is me calling him back later that afternoon.
Well, my point is this is not a law enforcement matter, okay?
But somebody's bugging, it's not a law enforcement matter.
No, actually it wouldn't be. That's something you need to work out. You need to find out first if it's true. And secondly, if you discover it's true, you need to take it to the police department and have them find out who it is that's bugging your car.
I couldn't get the police department to investigate a rig lot.
Well, what is it?
You're telling me.
Well, wait a minute. There's nothing we can do for you, law enforcement, okay?
There's nothing we can do for you, law enforcement. It's not a law enforcement matter. You know, the best thing I can do is recommend you take it to a mechanic, and if he finds out there's a bug in it, then take it to the local police. Well, if it's not a law enforcement matter, he's contradicting himself right there. Any 10-year-old knows that eavesdropping is a crime. Okay? I got a recording of Dwayne telling me, the U.S. attorney, of all the crimes I told him, he said no crimes were committed. Where do you see the evidence? Okay? And they called me up. I had a field agent call me up and say, you better not send any more evidence here or come here ever again. You better not send any more evidence to this office or any other FBI office. Okay. I had U.S. Marshals tell me the same damn thing. First time I called them. Okay. You better not call here again. You better not send any evidence or come here or you're going to be arrested. They didn't tell me. They had their secretary tell me. They were gone today. It was after 1700. They had the phone girl call. Let me now, instead of just reading the federal law, what I did is just pick up the phone immediately, called the Charlotte FBI with this guy. His name's Ernie. I don't know his last name. And at least that's what he said his name was. And the duty agent I spoke to a black duty agent. He's a good guy. He was sympathetic. He wished he could help. He's helpless. Okay. But let me just let him explain to you that eavesdropping is a crime, either through the phone or dropping a bug somewhere, you know, instead of me reading the federal law.
Yes. I was wondering, I have been instructed by someone in law enforcement to have my car checked to see for possible bugs or anything like that. First of all, what are the laws about bugging a car or a phone or something like that?
Bugging the phone is you have to have a court order to do that.
But what about a car? Dropping a listening device in something like that?
That would be take a court order also, sir.
Okay, answers that question. Now, they kept telling me to go to my local police, turn the crimes into local police. Okay, I turned the crime of the state people wouldn't take it. The special agents from the Treasury Department sent me to the state police. They wouldn't do anything. Apparently, the Attorney General was in on it. When I talked to the head investigator, he was retiring that day. He said, my replacement, Tom Dixon, he'll help you. This is brazen, and we need to get on this right away. Yeah, and smash it too. I talked to Tom Dixon. He was very encouraging. He said, but we've got other investigations the Attorney General personally put us on. I need to call him to tell him that we need to suspend those and get on this right away. When he called back, he was hostile to me. Okay? He told me no investigation was going to be launched. This is a divorce case and this stuff and that stuff, which I turned this stuff in before I filed for divorce with my second wife, the fat little brown bitch. Now, you'll hear me refer to it as FLVD. Now, she thinks that it means fabulous little brown butt, but it don't. She was going through this was after the post-divorce separation. Right? She's going through my phone looking to see if any women have been calling me. Not for divorce reasons, but for jealousy reasons. She says, baby, you have a lot of calls from FLBD. Who is FLBD? I said, that's you. Oh, really? Yeah. What's it mean? I said, fabulous little brown butt. Oh, really? Yeah. And she was all happy. And I said, I got all those dishes in there. I ain't mopped the floor yet in the kitchen. Yeah. Oh, I get it. She's in there mopping my floor, right? Cleaning my kitchen in my apartment because I had rid of possession to my home, but she got it back. Through the denial of due processes you'll hear later, she walks away and I pull my recorder and chuckling to it. And it really means fat little brown bitch. Now, she didn't look like that when I married her. Okay, she had legs that stopped the train. Anyhow, that's just what I'm talking about. It's just all the damn time something. And I called this Lieutenant Dillingham, okay, and tried to get him to take the case. He told me that a Superior Court judge was way the hell out of line. I was Chief District Court judge at the time. It not allowed me to admit recordings, but I was exactly right. The judge was exactly wrong. he doesn't know why in the world he told me it was, you know, the recordings were hearsay. Of course I could. And I told him what I knew about the law. He said, look, he said, the thing you've got to remember is one thing you don't understand about the law. If somebody asks you if you're recording, just say no. You don't have to say yes. As long as you got the recorder on your person, you don't have to say, yeah, I'm recording. You know, right through the teeth, it's still admissible. That's one thing you don't understand. Everything else about federal law and recordings, you got it. Well, the next time I saw Dillingham, he was quite the asshole, and he had been turned like Tom Dixon. Okay? He went from you know, helpful to criminal like that. Okay? Now, he's chief of detectives of Buncombe County. You've got to realize that since this time, the sheriff has moved his luxury retirement home. Finally, thank God he retired and moved his luxury retirement home in the federal penitentiary. It seems that if he caught people embezzling money or gambling, he would tell them how much time they're going to get if they quit doing it. If they don't quit doing it, and they give them a certain percentage of the profit, provided they're showing the real books. He's going to send his deputy by with a brown paper bag. They better fill it up every Friday. The FBI, apparently, this part I'm guessing at. Apparently, he was so emboldened because the FBI, for the longest time, had turned a blind eye and deaf ear about me. Okay. That he got so bold, he put $300,000 cash in his own luxury retirement home. His own sheriff's re-election campaign in a small city. $300,000 cash. You know where the hell the money come from? Had no good explanation for it. Obviously, he had never made that much money. He thought he was going to get away with it because everybody was involved. Okay. And the only reason he did get away with it is because the actual Citizen Times, you know, who has, you know, dumb cop news and criminal cop news every week, practically. Sometimes 2 articles in the same front page. Found out because it's a matter of public record. Forced an investigation, and they had to arrest him. That's basically why the FBI arrested him, because they fucking had to. They had no choice at that point. That's what I'm trying to do, is get somebody to cover the story. When I went to National Citizen Times with my paper, supposedly I talked on the phone with a Brian Ponder. Now, Brent Ponder is a good man. I went to school with him. And I had a nice conversation with him, even as we were adults, in Greenville, you know, right before I left Greenville. Nice man, nice family man, good Christian man. Now, I don't know about his brother. He did some estate work for me back when I had an estate. He never completed it because I started the divorce with that woman and everything. That's when I found out she was cheating on me. Okay. But it was Brian Ponder. I said, did you know this Brian Ponder in Greenville? And he said, no, I didn't know that. And I said, well, it's Scott Wilson's common. I said, there's 4 Scott Wilsons in Hooterville here. And there's 4 in Greenville. And I've never met the ones in Greenville, but I know one works for the sheriff's department, one works at Gerber, one's a manager at Bilo's, and then there's me. So if I get a call from Scott Wilson, I just ask people, you know, which one you need, where do they work, and I can send them. I knew their phone numbers, so I could send them on their way, whoever was calling. You know, I just never met them. And he said, no, I never heard of the guy. Well, I went and gave him paid $120-something for an external hard drive. Put a good bit of evidence on it for safekeeping. A situation like that, when I'm trying to work on a presentation. Yeah. And when I was falsely incarcerated, all kind of shit, I went back to get it. They said, look, we never talked to you. Nobody at this newspaper ever talked to you. We never corresponded with you. We never talked to you, nothing. Well, it's funny, I got pictures, recordings, and correspondence. You see, I would back up shit that whoever was hacking me thought they were erasing. And I'll show in this presentation the correspondence, and if I've got time, I'll put some recordings in there and some pictures too. Okay. They're involved in the cover-up as well. The damn local press. So is the national press. Okay. Again, these people are above the law, and they're above God. Even the press is involved in this. Okay. But listen to Dillingham. The reason Dillingham got mad is they wouldn't do anything about the sales tax embezzlement. So I called up pretending to be Jeff Toobin, a lawyer from Atlanta. He happens to be the legal analyst, senior legal analyst for CNN. Written a couple books, one on the Supreme Court. And I told him, you know, I'm kind of well known in Atlanta, and I'm an attorney there, and I do a lot. I'm licensed in North Carolina, do a lot of business here, and I'm looking to buy a weekend summer home up here, you know, which is cool in the summer, and Love mountain sports in the area. I'm just looking by a second home up here, and I was up here, and I've got recordings of people, and I just told them the same exact story that I told them. But when I was Jeff Tubin, the dude was chomping at the bit. Eddie Davis, who I asked for, a mid-level experienced detective, but not the chief detective, says I knew Dillingham would recognize my voice, even though I disguised it a little bit with Davis. Okay. And he was chomping a bit. Miss Tubin, can you get here today? With that on a hard drive, I would love to start listening to those recordings and start making that warrants. And get on this case right today. No, you can't make it for a couple of days. Is it all right will you tell me where you're working now, where your office is? If you'll hand that to your secretary, I'll have my officer come by. I'll send one. It doesn't matter if it's out of the county. I'll have my officer come by there and he'll pick it up. He'll sign for it to make sure that an officer got it. And of course I blew him off. And the reason you'll hear it say I had something wrong with my car. I didn't have anything wrong with my car. What was wrong with the car is it was snowing, and it was a Honda Civic. And the Honda later corrected the problem. But the damn Civic they came out with, the Owens would go in the snow. This one wouldn't. If one wheel spun, you shit out of luck. I'd have had people push me to get a run and go in a flat parking lot. Of course, it snows a lot of that in the wintertime. Not a lot, but some. Yeah. Now I had an Aveo after that. Man, that thing, it run circles around that Civic in the snow. But nevertheless, it was a nice car. But for what it was, just my little commuter car. Not what I normally drive. People know me. I normally drive great big trucks or real fast cars. But it was just a little commuter car, and it wouldn't go in the snow and shit. That's why I needed to come by Sunday before it snowed. Okay, he was supposed to be there, but he wasn't. It seems that the Greenville County Sheriff's Department are like school children. If it snows, people are scared to get hurt on the road, so they stay home with school children. But here's Dillingham. Okay, check this out.
It is not a crime to take a picture of an officer in a uniform. It is not a crime. I was threatened with arrest for doing so. When handing him evidence of serious crimes.
Let me let this clear to you all. She called this woman today. I'm going to tell you for it. I'll have time to talk to you. That's why my partner has time to talk to you. We cannot help you with your problem yourself. You have no business.
These crimes, there are crimes that took place in Buncombe County.
What I'm telling you is what I'm doing. Do not call my phone number anymore. I will arrest you tomorrow if you do. Do you understand me?
I will not call you again.
Do not call my agency anymore. We have no help for you. Your crimes that you're alleging did not happen here.
It did happen in Buncombe County. It happened in Buncombe County.
I have been wasting my time with you over the past couple of months. In my word, do you understand me?
The crimes took place in Buncombe County.
I'm tired of talking to you. You're not calling this number again. You're not calling my agency again. If you have a problem with anybody in our agency, you understand me?
I will certainly call Kim Martin. I understand what you're saying.
Do not call me again. Goodbye.
That caused it a couple of minutes. In fact, I couldn't see. I went back on the road. Actually, I didn't want to sit there. I was kind of blocking the entrance of the high school. I don't know what's going on with the high school. The gate was open over there at West Henderson. That call ended at 1824. Getting ready to email it to somebody. It's now 1822 on the 8th. Okay. And I emailed it to an expert witness, okay, along with some pictures. What I did is I went by there. I called up pretending to be Jeff Tubin, and the cops thought they were going to investigate the crime because an attorney from Atlanta named Jeff Tubin that they never heard of, who was on CNN all the time, and written some books. But anyway, they'd never heard of him, was going to do it, so they were delighted. Okay. Well, the funny thing was, I went down there thinking he was going to be there that day, but he stayed home because it snowed. And whoever the low-ranking detective was, or whoever drew the short straw that day, was on duty. He was a detective on duty, basically just sitting in the office playing on a computer, I guess. He might have been working on a case. But only one detective came to work that day. Okay, and it was Sunday. But the guy, as I recall, was supposed to be there that day. And also note, that recording with Dillingham, I do believe, if I listen to the whole recording, I've got another copy that's different. I think that's one of the copies that had been cut, pasted, and edited, and put back
but you can still see the attitude. And you get the FBI, the special agents from the Treasury Department, the state people, all telling me to go to Dillingham. Okay, I sent a huge amount of evidence to that motherfucker. Okay, and you know, this is what I get. And this is why he was so pissed off. Okay, he'd already heard what happened. Okay, earlier that day, about an hour before then, or less than that, I went by the sheriff's department to drop this off for Eddie Davis. The problem was Eddie Davis wasn't there. Dana Fox, now I don't know if he's any kin to Eddie Fox, the Whistle, the Kiss, I'm sorry, not Whistle, the Kiss Country radio DJ or not. But Dana Fox was a detective on duty, and I didn't have his number in my BlackBerry. Had Eddie Davis called me from his desk, or Dillingham called me, it would have come up, you know, Buncombe County Sheriff's Department, you know, and the name. But his number wasn't on there, so I didn't know, so I answered the damn phone instead of answering it. Jeff Toobin, I answered it like I always do, okay? And as I recall, it was Sunday, and I was coming down early instead of Monday. He was supposed to be there anyway, as I recall from my conversation the previous Friday. But Dana Fox answered the call, and they found out what the hell I did to him, okay? And they knew they were had. So instead of meeting Dana Fox down there at the sheriff's department, I got pictures of everything. You'll hear me take pictures later in the recording after this. Instead of meeting Dana Fox down there, okay, and going up into the sheriff's department office, okay, there were about 3 or 4 officers barring me from the door of the sheriff's department. They made me wait about 10 minutes for somebody very important to come by to get my recordings, and I'm going to hand them to him. About 10 minutes later, the dog catcher showed up. And I was forced to give them to the dog catcher. Then I was told if I didn't leave, and if I took pictures of anybody, they didn't know I was recording them. If I didn't leave and I didn't take pictures, and I took pictures of everybody, they were going to arrest me. But I was trespassing on county property, and if I didn't get the hell out of there right now, they're going to arrest me for trespassing on county property. I happen to be quite a taxpayer, you know, in the county and in the city of Asheville as well, between my home and my business. Now my home is actually in Henderson County, but before I bought that home, just not too long before that, I was living in Asheville and in Buncombe County. Okay. And the business, of course, was in Buncombe County, and we are now an island of Asheville. The whole shopping center there, we all have been swallowed up by Asheville, and we get to pay Asheville city tax. But, of course, we don't get any benefits for that. But here is Dana Fox calling me. I called Jeff Toobin and left a message. Okay? Dana Fox calls me back. Check it out. And is there a Jeff Toobin there? You know, I answered the phone, Scott Wilson, and when he heard the name, he knew exactly he'd been had. He knew the whole fucking sheriff's department had been duped. Okay? He knew that Dana Fox and all of those guys knew they were eager as hell to get those recordings of Jeff Toobin's and investigate on his behalf and the behalf of the taxpayers, but they didn't want me to get credit for it. Okay, check it out. I'll go into detail on all this later.
Scott Wilson.
Yes.
Yes, this is Jeff. Actually, that's not my name, obviously, and the reason I did that is, where are you, by the way? I'm on my way down there.
It went downhill from there. He told me I better not come there when he found out who I was. Okay, the conversation went downhill from there. It's amazing how nice people are if they don't know you're Scott Wilson. No, but you know, and Country Boy Can't Survive was my ringtone. I got a straight talk Verizon phone now, so I can't get it. So I got some an instrumental version of some John Travolta music on there now. But you heard what happened. Now this is what happened when I got down there. Davis told me not to come. When I got down there, he had officers bar the door and forced me to give the recordings to the dog catcher. Okay, here's a snippet of this. Now this recording here has been altered. It's got parts cut out of it and things like that. I know this is an altered version, but you can hear enough of what happened here. Okay, to know that they threatened to falsely arrest me for trespassing on county property when I was trying to turn in the biggest case of sales tax embezzlement in the history of North and South Carolina. One family business alone that I turned in stole over $250,000 from the taxpayers, according to the two special agents from the Treasury Department, in less than 2 years. They had just survived the worst form of IRS audit. And the auditor, who was extremely experienced, according to my accountant, complimented them on how honest they were. That's how good this damn zapping software is. Okay. I'll explain all later. Check it out. And you look at the timestamps on those camera shots and the pictures, and then you'll see in the presentation I do how I documented this and sent it to an expert witness whose name I removed. I just put some blue tape over the name, so you would not know this expert witness's name that got this recording and these pictures before I went back home, because I figured, they'd falsely arrest me before I got back home. I know the drill. Okay, of course, they would do so to try to arrest my recordings. Also, I don't like to be threatened by police officers. Apparently, Dillingham had listened to my ex-wife and all this other bullshit that I'm scared of my own shadow and unathletic and things like this. I've done a lot of playing sports, and I can handle myself really well, to put it mildly. Okay, and I'll explain more about that in detail. I'm the most peaceful person you ever want to meet. But especially one guy or two guys, you shouldn't fuck with me. It's not a good idea. I don't look like it. Okay, I clean the clock and look good while I do it. Okay, I'll explain all about that later. Okay, but I hate these bully cops. You got to realize these guys are this arrogant, right? Since these recordings, their boss, the sheriff, and a couple of his generals there in the or lieutenants or whoever in the sheriff's department has gone to jail. Okay, they're in the federal pen. For financial crimes and the covering up of it and shit like this is typical what they're doing. I'll show also how they framed 4 people in a row, and somebody who was worried about their soul turned them in and turned into evidence, proving not only did the cops and the DA in Buncombe County know these 4 men they framed for murder were completely innocent when they arrested them, they manipulated evidence and withheld other evidence from the judge and the jury to falsely convict them in order to be successful. In some cases, they cut, pasted, and edited video and audio recordings, or at least video recordings, in this one case I'm thinking of. That particular case was closed 3 years earlier. DEA agent called a pretty high-level drug dealer. He turned in this regional lord and in exchange for immunity. They said, look, you got to tell us every crime you ever committed. One of them was a murder in Nashville. They used film because he had an 85 restored Cutlass that was dark in color. The police knew that film. Okay. They knew that the same dark color 85 Cutlass of the innocent man they convicted would look the same under that black and white camera. at that particular gas station, the County Line gas station there, in Hooterville on Hooterville Road, in Nashville, the BP station. And they took it and cut and pasted and edited it and showed just a clip of it, of that cut and pasted and edited part to the jury, and that alone convicted the man, along with the policeman's testimony, because people mistakenly believe cops. Now, I traveled all over the world in some countries, and rightfully so, people see a cop, even kids know. Be careful. He might be a good man. He may be a hell of a criminal. You never know. That's the way it is here. It's just people don't realize it. And I'll go on and on about this later. But, yeah, they got caught red-handed doing this shit, and their arrogance was incredible. You know, it's just amazing. Now, I mentioned before that my first ex-wife, Kumiko Asada, who I called the devil woman, my college sweetheart, who chased me all over fucking campus before she called me, is in on this stuff. Now, they're politically connected, okay? Now, top-level executives in this country, okay, especially back in the Carolinas, and I'll show where cops can kill one wife. You can't kill two, but you can kill one wife. You can break restraining orders. You can kidnap. You can drive drunk. You can have an accident drunk, but you won't get charged with drunk driving. I'll show that too. And this is well known with newspaper articles even. This that well known. Okay, and I'll show it later. And this is the same newspaper that has the dumb cop news and the criminal cop news that turned on me and committed all that crime against me. Okay, so you see, I'm kind of between the rock and the hard place. Now, y'all don't get me wrong. There's a hell of a lot of nice people back in North Carolina. They're scared. I've got 20-year veteran friends that had their lives ruined because they spoke highly of me. I've got other veteran friends that say, Scott, for God's sakes, don't let people know that you know I'm here and that you know I live here, and for God's sakes, don't let them know I like you a lot. It could bode very well for me, and it will bode very well for me and my wife, but badly for me and my wife economically. I've had cops stand up and tell me they're scared to tell me the truth, but spoke up for me in public, said that when I say I'm the biggest victim of crime quantitatively in terms of number of counts in any individual in the history of man, I don't exaggerate about that. I don't exaggerate about anything else I say, and I sure as hell don't lie. They wish they could arrest these people involved in this. They know who's behind it, but Scott, we can't possibly arrest them. We're just mid-level detectives in Paris, in Louisiana. Okay, and like I said, that politician got arrested instead of me for signing that false warrant. That was Saturday. On Monday, she was singing like a songbird. I was told Monday morning. Listening to something in the afternoon. In the afternoon, I started calling. I got no word. Fans were coming out, and sympathizers coming out of the woodwork. Delighted. Praise the Lord. Scott's finally going to get justice after all this time and all they did to him. Thank God. But then when I told him, I said, you're going to find out every political party is involved. You're going to be amazed at how many church leaders are involved and all this other crap. How many people are involved in this? You are going to be... The next day was put on that investigation. I didn't hear anything else, in spite of my Louisiana state rights as a victim and my federal rights as a victim. I ain't heard shit. As many messages I've left, everything else. But it did get me targeted. Okay? But I'm rambling on here. This thing's gone on 48 minutes. Okay? Let me just get going here. Here's the devil woman fixing tickets. This I call summary recordings. I call up, make up an excuse that I got a ticket, which I didn't, to get her to admit to fixing tickets. Okay, a high-level executive, a cop, they don't need to worry about blowing the breathalyzer. They don't need to worry about 110-mile-an-hour speeding tickets. Okay, anything like that. Okay, her boss got a 110-mile-an-hour speeding ticket coming back from Atlanta at rush hour in the morning. Cop pulls him over, hands him a business card. He got pissed off. The cop handed the business card back, asked for his license and registration, told him he was going to write a ticket. He said, don't you know who I am? He got upset that he didn't know who he was, even without his business card. He showed the business card, and the cop handed it back. The nerve of him. Okay? And I don't remember which Japanese president it was, because they were rotated about every year, But it was Hitachi and Grable back when they had a couple thousand employees. They still had about 1,600 at least. Yeah. And, of course, it just went away. Check it out. And she implicates my father as well. Answers the phone the same way as always.
Nancy, this is Kumiko speaking. Nancy, this is Kumiko speaking.
Okay, I got her that job. Okay, I just played it twice for emphasis. Got her that job there, and she's always answered the phone the same way. Here we go. Here's my story right here.
Greenville County, and I was wondering if you could get Bill Davis to use his contacts to have it erased.
He's no longer here.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't.
Where is Bill now?
He's retired.
Is he still living in the Johnson home he's got over off Pelham Road?
I don't know.
I don't know him well enough to, I mean, I spoke to him when I saw him at parties and things like that, but I don't know him well enough to call him up and ask him something like that. It's going to take somebody on the inside to do it. Who handles that for Hitachi now?
Nobody.
You don't have anybody fixing tickets now?
No.
I guess there's, how many employees you got now?
I'm sorry, but I can't help you with things that you're trying to deal with.
I bet Bill Davis still could.
But, I can't ask him.
Okay, now, when the ticket was fixed, they still had about 1,600 employees, okay, maybe even 2,000, okay? Now, I'm just guessing there's a false warrant signed out on me or something, okay? My sister even signed out a false warrant on me, and I'll explain later as we get through this thing, okay? Now, they even turned the grandmother that raised me against me, okay? Now, they were down to 20 employees, I found out later. I think they had 20 employees is all they had from 2000, okay? And they didn't have anybody with enough pull politically, locally, or statewide to get things like that done. They didn't have a Bill Davis. Okay, so let me let her explain to you here that she thinks that Greenville County, like Greer, your daddy knows enough people to get that done. He can have the ticket fixed for you. Check it out. And my daddy has hated me. Look, I moved out of the house when I was 17 years old because he tried to kill me with axe hammer. Okay. Make a long story short, I left him crying in the driveway and drove off. I like to kill him, left him crying in the driveway and drove off. Okay. Put myself through college, mostly. Had a little bit of help from him, $1,500 cash, and the use of a pickup truck until I graduated. Okay, that's about it. So let me, and I finished in Japan. Okay, I waited all my student loans. I finished in Japan, and I didn't buy any. I was wearing suits I had from high school. Okay, a few clothes that I bought in college, but suits I had in high school and clothes I had in high school to go to church in, I was wearing to work in Japan. At a high-class job in a high-rise, and my company shared the floor with the French consulate. And my wife at the time, who was then my girlfriend, was very embarrassed that I wouldn't spend money on clothes. I didn't spend money on shit. I bought a camera and a backpack. Is all the hell I bought. Okay. And I mean, I go out to eat, and drink some, but I watched what the hell I did. Okay. And I lived in a cheap apartment, and that's all I bought. And I paid all my student loans off a week to 10 days before the interest came due. They have a 6-month grace period, and all that back interest kicks in. Shit, I paid that shit off a week to 10 days before the interest came due. I graduated from the 18th small school in the nation. Okay, we ranked higher than a lot of huge schools, and we ranked higher than even Farman at the time. Okay, and it was many, many, many times more expensive. Not that those aren't great schools. I had great friends from Farman. Okay, remember them fondly. My best competition academic was from Farman, not the Ivy League. It was Farman. Those students, they're tough, man. Overall, I beat them, but man, yeah, it was a fun competition. It really was. But let me just keep going. Okay. Now here he is. Got to get on Bendy Dan's good side. He'll get that ticket fixed for you.
Yeah, why don't you ask your daddy? He's probably got some good connections.
He could probably get it done. I know people with high-powered executives. Obviously, we know from past experience how easily they can do it. But if it were Greer, my father probably could. But my father's not willing to help me.
Well, you have to be on his good side.
I don't kiss anybody's ass, and I don't have a political bone in my body. I don't do anything for anybody with the thought of what I can get out of it. Okay? Now, here is some snippets from our marriage counselor. Okay? And this is a summary recording, and it's just us. I called him up one day just to reminisce. Every once in a while I call him up to reminisce, and I've got points written down that I want to go over that I want him to confirm that he said. Okay? And here he is. We're talking about, we're recalling the first time he met the devil woman. Okay? And he turned red in the face. I said, "What'd you think of my wife?" He turned red in the face. He leaned forward. He was mad as hell. He leaned forward and said, "In my 18 years of marriage counseling, she's the biggest bitch I've ever met in my entire life. God, I feel sorry for you. You know. And he jumped back, and he was shocked, and so that was very unprofessional for me to say. It was true, but that was my personal. I should not have said that. But anyway, check it out. This is us reminiscing about it. And I've got, I got a lot of stuff, man.
I'll never forget. I went in the day after you met her. You spent a long time with her. I came in and sat down and said, "So what did you think of my wife?" He turned around and said, "In my 18 years of marriage, I've got 2 master's degrees, and in my 18 years of marriage counseling, I've never met a good picture of my life." Those are your exact words, and you jump back. You did not mean to say that, but it came out of your mouth. And after it came out of your mouth, you couldn't believe you said it. You didn't know what to say.
I do remember referring to Kimmy as a bitch. Yeah. On more than one occasion, but
you remember
I don't know that I said it quite that.
Okay. He remembers. He's laughing about it. And in the beginning of this recording, he knows I'm recording him because in the beginning of this recording, we'll talk about this recording you're going to hear later that I had of Adam Bull telling me that my father's in on this shit too. Okay. And he's laughing. He said, "Oh my God." He said, "You got this son of a bitch on recording?" You know, like that. I said, "Yeah." I said, "I got shit you wouldn't believe." And of course, I was playing dumb. And I call it Kolonosuke. Okay. He's a Japanese general. You'll read in my open letter to Senator McCain, a little bit about that. And my explanation of the no play written about him, the most famous no play, Japanese play in history, was written about him and his redemption of honor. And it was stolen out of my car and was not returned. I'll also include 8 parts of a handwritten thing I just scribbled down to get it off my chest. And later, it's really a song that was inside of me that needed to come out. Not that shit, but it explains it pretty well. Okay? And, if you want to make your way through it, it's actually was going to be about a 3-page comment on an email to an attorney, exchange between an attorney and myself. They turned into 80-page diatribe of sorts. It was actually just a venting. And I just had to get it out before I could work on anything else. They stole the last part or 2 of that and didn't give it back. They stole all of it, and then they gave all but the last part or 2 of that back, and they didn't give my explanation of Chushingla back. Okay, which I just need to type up, basically. The other stuff is just, you'll see. Okay? But anyway, he's laughing at the end of that, right? Because he recalled what he said. I didn't know I said it that dramatically, okay? Now, he also told me, after he met my parents, okay, for some reason the devil wanted to meet my parents and my sister. He said, "Look, Scott, in my 18 years of marriage counseling, okay, what he said was this. That was previous comment. What he said was, and again, I got a little bit of sleep deprivation here because pain has been keeping me awake. Okay, I need some surgery. And when you hear me a lot, I'm tired. In recording, if I say a lot, you go back and listen to the recordings of when I quit recording the night before, when I started work the next day, for how many days I did that shit, you'll understand why I'm saying okay. Mostly we passed out. All right, but he told me, he said, if you could ever trust another living human being again, I'll be amazed. You are surrounded by cruel and selfish people. And if you can ever trust another living human being again, I'll be amazed. All right, check it out. Here's me. I got down to that point on the page. He doesn't know I'm talking on the phone with him. And I get down to that point on the page. He knows I'm recording, probably, but he has to. But he doesn't know that that I've got points. He just thinks I'm just we're just reminiscing. Okay, nice guy, and he's got 2 degrees, master's degrees. Real nice guy. He's a Christian counselor. He does very little Christian counseling because there are not enough Christians that go to him. But this Christian, appreciates his degree in theology. He's got a master's in theology as well as, I believe, as well as psychology.
Remember telling me that one time, at some point during my counseling when I was going through the divorce, your marriage counseling for me and Kuma, you told me that, I'll never forget what you said. You said, I think your exact words were, quote, "Scott, we're surrounded by cruel and selfish people. And if by the time this divorce is over with, if you could ever trust another living human being, I'll be amazed," unquote. And I can still hear you say those words. And, for the longest time I thought you were right. But I can see light at the end of the tunnel.
And now I can say that there were two schools of thought. One was a doctor named Dr. Keaty, Deb Barnett. Her school of thought was, after this thing's over with, I get justice, I'll know who I could trust and who I can't. I'll be able to trust more than I ever could before. Because I know so much about betrayal, and when I see people trustworthy, I know I can trust them, particularly if they've helped me along through this thing. You know, and I'll be able to trust them more. He was a school of thought I never be able to trust anybody. Ironically, both are correct. I have the capacity to trust more now. That's what the light at the end of the tunnel. I have the capacity to trust, the capability of trusting more than anyone you've ever met. The problem is, okay, I don't trust anybody completely. Now, independent of me, okay, people from the press, okay, where there's a few liberals, but obviously conservatives, okay, politicians the same way, I like a lot or even love, independent of me. But you put me in the picture, you know, sometimes I get mad as hell because they know the story. They've told me, man, good work on that. You proved that really well. They won't run the damn story. I don't know what the hell is going on. Okay, remember, I'm God's mushroom. Greg told me I'm God's mushroom. Okay. And that God's mushroom is a song that came from the 80-page thing that I wrote up on that correspondence between myself and Eric Johnson, the attorney. Okay, I'm really not. I told Greg I'm not God's mushroom. I'm Satan's mushroom. Okay. God, when you wear the armor of God, He doesn't allow anyone to hit you anywhere that is going to mortally wound you, fatally wound you. Okay, He's not going to put more on you than He can bear. Okay, He's allowing Satan to keep me in the dark and feed me and set it out of shit. But with the song title, I just went along, and I hadn't finished yet. I hadn't had time. I just went along with the God's mushroom. Okay, because the quote, He keeps me in the dark, feeds me and set it out of shit. I read that quote I mentioned in the snippet directly off my legal pad. That is a direct quote of what he said originally. I read it right on my legal pad. You can, if you hear the recording, you know I'm just sitting there reading like an interviewer would. Okay. Now, I was given a writ of possession of a custom built 4-bedroom mountaintop home. Now, my father's gone on and told people a bunch of lies that he bought the home and gave it to me. The first person I didn't want to buy the home. I told my ex-wife, I said, look, the bottom's about to drop out of this economy. We need to wait. Just save our money, we'll have a bigger down payment, and we're going to get some great deals on real estate. I found a mountaintop lot in a nice neighborhood with a beautiful clubhouse. Some cat paid $190,000 for it, come down from New York City, paid $190,000 for this lot, thinking he was Donald Trump. Now, I don't know how much he paid. That's how much Bank of America loaned him on the lot. Okay. They would have sold it to me for $26,400. Maybe it's $23,400. I think it was $26,400 cash. You know, I could have bought it. I determined that given the traffic at Malfunction Junction, you know, and I still would have done it, but the fat little brown bitch, what if I had to go into work or stuff like that? You know, it's just too far for me to drive. I hate to drive. You like it. And so I didn't buy it for that reason. You know, I wish I did now. Okay. But I could have got it for $26,400. I don't know what he paid for it, but the bank loaned him $190,000 for it. Bank of America was into it for $190,000, and they would have sold it to me for $26,400. Okay, and that's an extreme deal, but I'm good at finding shit like that. Okay, for the money we saved in the lot, I could have built a nice house on it. Okay, particularly then because you know. Construction was down so much. Then you get great deals on construction and everything else. But nevertheless, we bought this house. First person I talked to gave me a loan. And with the closing costs, he saved me about $6,000 on the closing costs. But nothing would do but for him to have a loan. And the fat little brown bitch did that. I just walked away from it. I said, look, that's y'all's deal. I knew he was going to use it against me. Okay. Now, it was a deal that I paid him back the mortgage. I was never late. You know, I've got recordings of this, all kinds of shit, including a court order that I was never allowed to present in court. I had a Chief District Court Judge, Gary Cash, who by this time, a month later or so, had been promoted to Superior Court Judge. I had a court order giving me a writ of possession of the house and all of the proceeds of the business except for $2,000 a month. That was to pay her to the end of the divorce. Until it was finalized. Okay. I had recordings proving she was stealing more than that out of the damn cash drawer, even though she was accusing me of stealing money. It's always $35 I'm accused of stealing. I'll explain all that later. Okay. She drove me into magistrate level court in the neighboring county to where the divorce was. Okay. And before a magistrate, they had just become a magistrate within a month earlier. Or a month earlier or so. Okay. He was a little asshole twerk attorney that was made a magistrate, apparently for the sole reason of doing this shit to me. Okay. Now, I don't recall if I played Smith's, don't know exact words, but it would have been something very similar. Let me play that about the cool and selfish people remarks. Sorry about that. Okay, I'm rambling on here. And then we'll get to the judge. Okay. Magistrate.
I don't remember. Do you recall the situation when you told me that? I just remember those words. I don't remember the whole meeting. Just that part of the meeting.
No, I remember. I don't know if those were my exact words, but it would have been something
Okay, it would have been something very similar. Now, I walk into this courtroom, right? My attorney, who I paid thousands of dollars for, I done fired one, hired him, paid him $1,000 cash retainer. He wouldn't come to court for me. He said, look, you got a court order. I don't need to go there. It's ridiculous. You got a court order from a judge 3 levels higher. You got canceled checks, everything. It's never been in arrears. You got a court order giving you writ of possession. Not only that, he voluntarily put her on restraining order from the house because she was coming and stealing your file drawer, stealing your pictures, and shit like that. He voluntarily put her on a restraining order. Not only is she trying to get the house and she on a restraining order from the house, you got a Superior Court judge's order. I was never allowed to present the restraining order. I was never allowed to make an opening statement. I was never allowed to call a witness or cross-examine a witness. I wasn't allowed to say one word in my defense. And I kept trying to. Okay? He was thoroughly pissed off from the get-go. Now, in the beginning here, okay, I explained, you have to pardon me, Your Honor, I'm not accustomed to the rules of procedure in a court of law. Okay? The reason I say that, I was being very nice, because my opposing attorney got to make an opening statement. I started to make mine. Normally, the plaintiff goes first, then the defendant, okay? I started to make mine, and I was going to make my opening statement. He wouldn't let me, okay? He calls his witness. I couldn't cross-examine him. I couldn't call a witness. I couldn't say one damn thing. Check it out.
I'm accustomed to being formal proceedings argument.
Well, sir, this is a formal court at this point, and I will hold you to it. And if you step out of bounds 1 inch, you will regret it.
Okay. So the motherfuckers browbeat me from the get-go. I couldn't make an opening argument. Okay, I couldn't make an opening statement like the plaintiff did. Nothing. It's a small claims court. And I had a court order from a judge 3 levels higher. He wouldn't let me present. And if he gave her the house, he would put her on a restraining order from it. Okay? He later puts me on a restraining order from it, but somehow that restraining order disappeared when he found out that court order from that federal judge was real and what the hell he did, and I had recordings of everybody. That thing disappeared. I'll show how evidence disappears from evidence lockers. You wouldn't believe the shit that's done in this area of the country. And from what I'm told by state investigators and federal investigators, it's a lot that every fucking where, to some degree or another. It's this criminal. The police are this criminal, and the judiciary is this criminal everywhere. Okay. Now I'm trying to make a statement. I'm trying to say something, here with a witness. He won't let me do anything. Check it out. I'm just frustrated as hell. I try to speak and I can't. And I'm frustrated as hell.
Make it clear as a bell. Anything that you do that I perceive to be intimidating to this way, I'm going to hold you in contempt. Do you understand me? It's going to be very subjective on my part.
Now, my opposing attorney, the Chihuahua, Trey Everson, who does have redeeming qualities, by the way, he was the head of the law firm. Now, an attorney, a very experienced attorney, and Cheryl Jones was assigned to the case. Okay, but when he found out that I had recordings of people, then the head of the firm gets involved to make sure I got rammed through court. I got railroaded through court. He tried to cut a deal with me in the hallway. I wouldn't even listen to what the deal was. He made me return my recorder off. Said, "Is there some reason for that?" Yeah, I know you got a recorder. Turn the dang on. And I wouldn't make a deal. I said, "I don't want to hear what your deal is. I'm going to walk away with the house. I got a court order." He said, "Look, you're going to lose everything in there. They're right. You're insane. You're crazy. You're sick. You don't know what you just gave up." No, I don't take Satan 30 pieces of silver. Okay? But anyway, I couldn't say anything, and he's about to rule, so I finally start to make a statement. I can't do it. Listen to this. right? If you do anything intimidating this lady, right? Well, everybody knew what time it was there, and everybody knew that I was all in the right. Now, she took me before a criminal district court judge in Buncombe County, and she lied through her teeth. I proved perjury on the stand in front of the judge. He said, look. I said, Judge, she's committed perjury. He said, look, quote, her honesty is not in question here. Her honesty doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anything about this case. Her honesty is not a deciding factor. The only thing that's a deciding factor is whether you're violent or not. Well, it's obvious that the thing she said I was violent about, she couldn't recall anything. I made a fool out of her on the stand, and I called her in perjury. Now, the judge that gave me the court order called her in perjury, too, if I was accusing me of $30,000. She fucked up and admitted it to him. I didn't steal it. She was like, what I do with it? I paid bills with it. It was petty cash. And I had accounting records to prove where everything went. And the judge later found that out. Now, this judge ruled against me, put me on restraining order from the restaurant that she got back, okay? And then right after that, I go to this court, and she took the house. It's illegal as hell. This goes on and on. You wouldn't believe what happened before the judge walked in. My opposing attorney in that case, okay, Head McCroskey, gets up, and it was the first case after lunch. I get there about 15 minutes early. I set all my papers up and everything. I'm going to walk away with this thing, man. She's going away in handcuffs. Had recordings, speakers, everything. He gets up, and every attorney in Nashville apparently came by to watch him, and my own attorney harassed me. My own attorney threatened to beat me up. Then, about 10 minutes or so, I got about 15 minutes early, about 10 minutes, he said, well, Judge Hill's going to come in here in a minute. I better go in there and make my deal with him, plead my case, and I'll be back, man. Comes out, and he holds the door for the judge, goes over and punches the code in, speaks ex parte to the judge. The judge wouldn't let me admit correspondence between the FBI and me. He wouldn't let me admit recordings of her, even though I had them with me. He didn't care that she committed perjury. Her honesty is a he said, she said thing, but her honesty is not to be questioned here. It doesn't matter if she's honest or not. And that's why he did that shit. It's just ridiculous. If she had read the restraining order, she was on restraining order from the house. And I had recordings to prove that she lied in court to get that restraining order. She admitted it later. And I had evidence to prove beforehand she did it anyway. And her best friend, who was half Thai, she's Thai, and just happens to be the granddaughter of a lifelong State Bureau of Investigation agent in North Carolina that spent his whole life working in the actual office. Okay. Lied too, and I got them admitting it. Perjury's punished by 10 years in prison. Nobody gives a shit if you lie about me. Now, here it is in this thing. I'm trying to make a statement at the end of the thing when he says I'm going to rule. Okay? Check out what he said. He's standing over me at this point like a bandy rooster. He's just standing over me like Ali over listening. That's why he's standing over me like little bitty pipsqueak.
All you're asking for today is what's going down. I will in district court. That's your business. You say another word here, this judge is going to escort you to jail. One more word.
In a simple case of magistrate level court, because there's common citizens there, right? And word to get all over town if I'm able to speak. This happened in Forest, Mississippi during a false arrest. They don't allow me to say anything because if I speak, people know I tell the truth. Okay? And they don't have recordings to back it up, hidden and buried and everything else. That's why they won't let me say a word in my defense. Okay? And I told him, I can't. If you say one word, I'll arrest you. I said, well, I will in district court then. You do that. Okay? So I start out in the courtroom, and my attorney said, where are you going? My opposing attorney, Craig, said, where are you going? I said, I'm going to the clerk of court's office, and I'm going to file an appeal. We'll get this thing up to district court, and I'll have a district court judge not only give me my house back, but arrest her and all these other people and launch a federal investigation. No worries. I get to stay in the house as long as I paid my mortgage, not through my father or not through the bank, but through the court. That's what I did. I got thrown out of the courthouse. Okay? And the judge issued a 50B restraining order against me, his Sergeant Terrible Terry Whitmire, who came and threw me out of the courthouse. Okay? Let's check it out. Now I got a court order getting me from a judge two levels higher, give me a writ of possession of the house. The house has never been in arrears. Payments never been late. Okay? Nothing. And I got a court order to give me a writ of possession of the house and all of the business for $2,000, which ain't shit because she's stealing more than that out of the cash drawer. Okay? But he put me on a restraining order and gave the house in spite of a Chief District Court judge's order, who was by then a Superior Court judge. Okay? And in spite of her being on a restraining order from the house from a different county by a lower judge, he gave the house to her, sheriff. And then the big he escorts me to my car and tells me I better fucking leave.
I wanted to ask the Saturday 50 days letting me from that house right now. When do I get a copy of that? Can I pick it up at the clerk's office? You can go to your attorney's office. How do I receive a copy of that? You go to your attorney, get your attorney to get a copy of it. Well, then I know why the magistrate sent me back up there. And he just happened to show up. You get the car and go and leave.
Okay. Now, also, the court order disappeared from my desk. Okay? It disappeared from my desk. When I tried to ask her a question, she started pretending to cry. There were no tears coming out, but she was pretending to cry and pretending to be scared. And that's when McCroskey said, oh, she's got a restraining order against him. He's very violent. Of course, everybody knew that was bullshit. Now, I didn't have a chance to explain anything. That was at the restaurant. Okay, not at the home. He wouldn't listen to anything. This is all pre-planned. And Yelverson let me know that. In the hallway, you're going to get railroaded in there. You ain't going to do anything. Okay? So he throws me out of the courtroom, said I was violent. I picked up a pen to write a note. Throws me out of the courtroom. You know what he said? Come on in here to my chambers, beautiful, and let's talk about this. Tell me what happened. So Yelverson, Cheryl Jones, and the fat little brown bitch get up and go into his chambers, and I'm escorted out of the courtroom. There's people witnessing this, and I got recordings of it. Now, he could have been calling Cheryl Jones beautiful, but Cheryl Jones didn't know this guy. She knew him as an attorney. He'd only been a judge about a month. Now, even if he called my opposing attorney beautiful, don't you think that's showing a little bit of favoritism, much less who he really called beautiful? And so I come on here to my chambers, beautiful. Now let's talk about this. Ex parte. We meet outside of the courtroom, not even outside the chambers. Now, I had to go to my lawyer's office anyway. I was going to Nashville anyway. Okay. All right. I couldn't go back to my house. I'm wearing flip-flops, so I got cuts on my feet. I'm wearing flip-flops. Okay. It's a long story. But I go to my lawyer's office anyway, and I called his secretary, the psycho bitch from hell. I use an acronym. ABFH. But she's the psycho bitch from hell. I got a great recording of her. So I said, I'm not making excuses for him or anything, but maybe he's just busy. That's why he doesn't call me back. She said, look, he must work really hard. So let me tell you something. She hated me. She didn't know I was recording her. She said, Adam Bull is the laziest man I have ever met in my entire life. He's not busy. He does as little as he absolutely has to. That man doesn't do a bit of work. He won't strike a lick at a snake unless he absolutely has to do it, and there's no way he can get out of it. But anyway, I go over there. She threatens to call the police when I walk in the door. I walk in the door, and I walk back to see if he's in his office, because she's getting huffy when I walk in the door. I just peeked in his office because the door was open. And I said, look, I need a copy of that court order. You know? And she threatened to call the police. I said, look, I'll just go over to the courthouse. You know, I've got to pay for it to go over there. You know, you can give me a copy for free out of my file. No, I can't do that. I just walked over to the courthouse and got another copy of the court order that was stolen from me. Okay? And you know, it's just ridiculous. You know? And that's why they wanted me to go over there so I'd be falsely arrested when I walked in his office. And they pretended like at his office there was this big hoopla that I had a hit list instead of a shit list. So they just conveniently dropped the S off of that. And the shit list was people back in my divorce with the devil. And this has been years before. Years before. I told my sister, I said, look, I'm going to put you on my shit list. Now, you know, I've already got all these companies I don't do business with anymore, and all these people I don't speak to anymore because they're lying to me and all this other crap. Okay? And she rigged it so I called her phone a few times and left a message, you know. And then she put me out of contacts, okay? And then she took the S off to make it look like I had made up a list, and a hit list. I was going to kill a bunch of people and kill myself. Okay? And it was just ridiculous. And mind you, I've got these recordings of mental health care experts saying that I've been falsely committed and everything else by my family. Okay? My sister signed out a false warrant on me. The false warrant sat there supposedly for years. The false warrant sat there for years. Look, hey, I got to change my towels. Oh, anyway, I just had to give my towels because I refreshed later. Anyway, they try to make it a lot, I'm crazy. I hear things and all this shit, right? I got so much evidence for this. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. And I'll go into detail later. Okay? But this is typical. What they did was they called up my lawyer's office and they paid him up, they get him involved in it. Or at least the secretary involved in it. Okay? And they typically call, and I've got recordings of Cheryl Jones saying, that not only is most of the truth on my side, all of the truth is on my side. I deserve to win so badly, but Scott, you don't know who's behind this. You have no idea how many people are involved. I'm afraid they're not going to let you win. I feel horrible that the firm gave me the case. I have to take it and do the best for my client. As an attorney, I signed an oath to do that. I said, well, that's what you should do. But Scott, I'm afraid you're not going to get a fair trial. If you get anywhere close to a fair trial on appeal, you're going to win everything, Scott. And another thing, the federal government is going to jail. And so were some other people involved, including my parents. Okay. Now, she didn't say that much. That was me at home, but everything else was almost verbatim Cheryl Jones. And I got all kinds of recordings. Okay. But check this out. Okay. Here is Adam Bull. Okay. Later calling me. Okay. He later called me on the phone and told me that they got a lot of calls about you, and that my father was going around calling people all over town. He called attorneys, he called the courthouse, he called the sheriff, all over the place. And they get my sister's doing it, and they get a lot of other people doing it too. I don't know the identity of the other people. The only two people that we identify here are my sister and my father. Now there are quote, a lot of other people. Quote, a lot of people. In addition to that, we don't know who they are. But check out how it goes. This is typical how I get slandered here, right? And mind you, what I'm telling you is the tip of the iceberg here. Adam Bull.
We got lots of phone calls about you. So I don't know what's going on. We got some call from, I guess it's your wife's attorney that appeared in the Haslam County eviction case.
What did he have to say?
What did she have to say?
Oh, her. Okay, Cheryl.
I don't even know her. She called here all panicked, trying to leave some message, thinking that you were suicidal, made a bunch of threats, killed a bunch of people.
Okay. That's typical. Okay. Now, you would not believe how I've been slandered. The people told me I was slandered. Okay, check this out.
And, this is ridiculous. I never threatened to kill a bunch of people or any damn thing.
Well, this attorney said that you told them that you'd made some list.
Now, this is where he says your father's in on this shit too. Your father's in on this shit too.
I don't know if they're trying to play this whole game of let's poison the well, so to speak.
Well, that is part of the game that's been played against me, and
I understand that.
And it's very typical. You should hear the procedure.
Behind some of this shit too.
What?
I think your father's potentially behind some of this stuff.
Oh, there's no doubt about that.
I've been a long time without any sleep. But here's me talking to Cheryl. Okay, Cheryl actually called me. I was calling Bull's office to try to get an appointment, and Cheryl beeps in on my BlackBerry after I spent the weekend in my car. Now, I had money, of course, to go to a hotel, but I know from the Devil Woman's divorce what they were trying to do is bleed me dry cash. Okay, they were trying to bleed me dry cash to go to a hotel, three meals out for the weekend. Yeah, he'll get back in the house Monday, maybe, or at least get something going Monday. But we're going to bleed him dry money, so that's why I just slept in the car. If I had my backpack, my hiking boots, and been able to go back to my house to get my sleeping bag, then I could have been backpacking and having a ball over the weekend. But I couldn't, and I had cuts on my feet too. so I didn't have any proper shoes to do anything. And it was a hell of a weekend in that little Honda Civic. Okay. But here's Cheryl, okay. Now, at the end of this, I cut it off a little early. She said, "Are you recording me at the end?" I said, "Yep." She knew she had just walked into it. And she knew at that point, she knew I'd recorded every single conversation I ever had with her. Okay, let me check this. Somebody said sign out a warrant on so I got to get going here. Martin,
do I come across to you as seeming mentally ill, incompetent, or anything like that?
Do you come across?
We're going fishing, man.
Yes.
No.
Well, you threatened by me in any way. Do I seem dangerous to you?
Not on the phone.
If you looked at me, you might think I'm a little worse for wear. I definitely need to shave and shower.
Well, you're just a lot bigger than me. On the phone, I mean, just based on the conversations between email and phone, I have no reason to believe anything or anything like that. I just know that a family member who's known you for several years calls and says, "Hey, I've heard this, but I'm going to be warned. I'm going to take precautions because I don't make that."
Well, just take that with a grain of salt, and with the fact that those family members are really covering their asses.
Correct.
And they have done an awful lot of illegal things to put me in this situation. And eventually I will prevail. So you can tell them that I will prevail. I have no doubt, one way or another. And redeem my good name.
Try not to talk to your dad any further than what's going on with the or the ejectment. I tell him, I said, "Look, I can't do Buncombe County. I don't do Buncombe County. So whatever happens over there, happens over there." But, I mean, I don't think he took it very seriously because he shouldn't tell him about it. He was trying to, get everything out of it. And I just called out and talked to him and said, "Look, my name's mentioned, and there's a threat behind it. Please let me know before it happens." I mean, that's my concern because I've got, a receptionist that's up front, and sometimes people that sure don't want to compromise anyway. So, I mean, that was purely our concern.
I was sitting here talking to my windows down on the street, of course. Was any information leaked to you? Have you had any information from another attorney of any sort in this state concerning this case before we went to court?
I'm not going to answer that because some of that could be privileged.
I thought so. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not. I can tell you I have not had phone conversations about it.
One more thing.
Are you recording me?
You what?
Are you recording me?
Yes. Do I come across to you as saying?
I said, yeah. Yes. Okay. I admitted that. Now, also check this out. Notice how Adam talks about, the hysteria, right? So, my father, Cheryl called over there. Cheryl was calm. Look, I don't think he's dangerous, but, I've been told by a family member that he needs to be assessed. And see, you start talking about getting assessed, people get upset. Well, this is a psycho bitch from hell. Okay, she's probably paid off. I've been told, I can't verify this, but I've had people say that people are paid as much as $500 for a good job of harassing me, or to go to a restaurant and slander me libellously and harass me successfully without me saying anything in my defense. That they get paid as much as $500 to do that. You got to realize how powerful some of these people are. My ex-father-in-law, there wouldn't be a plasma display television if it weren't for that man and his product that allows them to make that. Now that he charged so much for the damn product that the makers came out and figured out different ways to make it. Okay? So, to drive his price down. Okay? But this is what I'm talking about. Okay? There's not now because I think both of them have retired, but there used to be, you would see on the internet conversations between him and a.k.a. strategy sessions, things like this, and meetings between he and a.k.a. A.k.a. of course, is the founder and former chairman of Sony Corporation. Okay. This is the kind of pool we got, and they are very politically connected, just like fixing tickets and shit. They don't worry about that stuff. Okay. Now, this follows me everywhere. When I got to Mississippi during Hurricane Isaac, I went and stayed in a storm shelter. Okay. A church there tried to have me falsely committed. Okay. And it was already set up at the Mississippi University Hospital. The doctor had basically already determined before I got there I was going to be committed. I was wheeled in. Okay, everybody there knew me in the emergency room, the patients, the staff, and they were laughing because I was making a fool out of the ambulance driver who was an asshole and stuff like that. It wasn't hard, you know. And then somebody was sitting there saying, Scott's making, he's joking, yeah, about this and pulling for me. Then turns around and looks me in the face and says, "What's your name?" Okay, I never saw you before in my life. They take me back into a part of the hospital, and I show this is typical in emergency rooms, whether I go there for emergency treatment or physical treatment, or where I'm supposed to have a mental evaluation. Every time I've actually been given a mental evaluation, it was with flying colors that I passed. Not just passed, I'm talking about with flying fucking colors. Okay? And like I said, I've got recordings of, and these people have already heard these recordings. Okay? They're in safe hands, they're buried and everything else. And it's a long story, but this doctor planned to falsely commit me. First, there was nobody else in that ward, so they couldn't hear what was going on. He tried to get me to leave my recordings with the nurse at the desk, who I could already feel evil and hostility from. Another nurse happened to see what was going on. She skedaddled, comes back. There was a guy he didn't have a jacket on, but he had a shirt and tie on. Obviously, in administration, a black guy. He had this horrified look on his face. They disappeared. Well, this dude goes to sign my commitment papers. He wouldn't give me an evaluation or anything. It was obviously this was pre-planned. In walks a lady, athletic-looking lady, attractive. She may be my age. I doubt she's that old. She said, "Look, she's the head trauma surgeon there. I'm over the trauma department here at the university, okay? And I'm the chief of staff of the emergency room as well, okay? Now we got a wreck coming in, and I don't know how bad it's going to be. I may have to help these guys out, but I don't have a lot of time with you. And I've already talked with you enough. Scott, look, there's nothing wrong with you. Okay, you're just fine. This is just a bunch of bull. You're going to be just fine. Don't worry. You're not going to be committed. Okay. By the way, what kind of evidence you got? And I showed her on my computer the recordings. You got all those recordings? I said, well, that's just one day. I said, oh, good. So I'm going to put your stuff up there on the internet. I'm going to check it out later. Yeah. You got a newspaper article where that politician was arrested. I showed the newspaper article where the politician was arrested. Now, this is before I found out she was released. Okay. And they were trying to get me committed to get my hands on a recording. Okay. Well, in walks a little Indian dude, shrinkologist, back in with his tail between his legs. Mr. Wilson, we are not going to commit you. Oh, really? So I'm getting a clean bill of mental health? Yes. But I thought I had to be committed. There was no choice. I was out of my mind and imagining things. No, you are free to go. And it goes on and on. Okay. You would not believe the crime committed against me there. Okay. But that's typical of what these doctors told me. Anybody that, any trained doctor, it doesn't have to be a psychologist, any doctor, any registered nurse will know, after 5 or 10 minutes of talking to you, that you're perfectly sane, and this shit really happened. A doctor particularly will know you're not lying. Okay, they'll know you're sane. And that's what happened here. Okay, it's a long story. Okay, and they tried to get me to sign papers against medical advice. The police spun me around and everything else. Then they put me on trespass notice from the hospital. People have these recordings in safe hands. Okay. It goes on and on and on. I get hounded wherever I go, right? Well, the police department in Raleigh, Mississippi, like me, they've got recordings, these and more, okay, and a lot more there, as well as written documentation, proving all these crimes. They're pulling for me. The sheriff's department hates masks. When I walked across the street with the sheriff's department, giving them a lot more information I'm giving in this recording right here, okay, the Raleigh department liked it. The assistant chief loved it. He likes me. He's a really nice guy. He's a cop instead of a pig. I walked across the street to the sheriff's department. The sheriff was outside. It's Charlie somebody. He snugs me. He's an asshole. Wouldn't even give me the number to the sheriff's department. He had some deputies walk by there and say, look, here's our phone number right here. Call detective, I forget the guy's name. And apparently he's the one that did me in. I don't know. But Charlie sticks his boys on me. Okay, when he found out the librarian was the only person in that town I didn't get along with. The librarian and one of her friends that worked supposedly in the city office there, but I don't think so. Okay. And even the librarian felt sorry for me before the end. Okay. So I had to leave town because I couldn't use the library. And the assistant chief told me where to go on the other side of the forest in Jasper County, where as soon as I got there, I was arrested. I was almost arrested in Newton, Mississippi. Now, these pigs criminally evicted me from Smith County, Mississippi, put me on trespass notice from the county because I wore my welcome out. What happened was they found out that I had all this evidence, that it was real. The sheriff's involved in this shit, and so is some of his underlings, okay, as is the librarian, okay. The city police protect me when I'm in the city, but they can get me in, outside the city limits because the sheriff's department's after my ass. Okay, they followed me. They said they were going to follow me to the county line. They followed me to the Smith County line, all the way through Scott County. This is about 17 miles here to Forest, Mississippi. They saw me going to McDonald's. When I pulled in McDonald's, the pig turned around in his pickup truck. I shot him a bird. Okay, I have a habit of doing that. I believe all cops in this country are number one. Most of them are number one with the middle finger, hence that gesture, quote unquote. I got the ticket for that one time, and that was funny. He's back in North Carolina. So I think all cops are number one. Most are number one with the middle finger, and very few do with the proud, like the assistant chief there in Raleigh, and are number one with the index finger. Ask any cop that's a good cop that I know. Okay, they'll tell you Scott loves cops. Ask any Japanese cop, they're all good. They'll tell you Scott loves cops. I hate pigs. Okay, I hate bullies. I hate criminals. I hate liars, and I hate assholes. So we naturally don't get along. Me and Satan soldiers, good and evil just can't coexist. But here they are evicting me from Smith County now. Now he already told me, look, they put you on this damn librarian didn't just get you on trespass notice to our library, Scott. It's like 5 counties around here. She's got you on trespass notice from. If you go into any of those libraries, even if the cops don't want to, even I would have to arrest you. Okay? And I said, I don't know what time it is. He said, where can I go? He said, Jasper County. Okay? Nice little town over there, Bay Springs. Go over there. I didn't get caught. They didn't arrest me, but the North Carolina DMV suspended my license. Okay? They made it appear like I didn't have one. Chief Tolliver, just like they did here. Again, that chief is going to testify. He said he would. I believe he will anyway. Plus, I got recordings of him saying it. He didn't know I was recording him. I'll let you know I was recording you. Okay? So, here are they. I was packing up camp in the National Forest, but they just thought they had emphasis to it, and they wanted to know where I was going. As soon as I got out of jail, okay, they arrested me Saturday night. They falsely arrested me Saturday night. They suspended my license because I didn't have any insurance. Well, I did have insurance. Okay, I'll prove it. Okay, I absolutely did have insurance on my car. They wouldn't let me show them, open my glove box to get my insurance card out. I had it on a PDF on my cell phone, which now you can do that digitally and show the cop. Right? You see commercials on television. Not in Forest, Mississippi. It's a long story. I was falsely arrested Saturday night. I was let out Wednesday afternoon. Okay, my trial was predetermined. They decided the outcome of the trial while I was in the holding cell next door. You could hear it. Now, apparently there were people in the courtroom watching this. Everybody in town knew that I was falsely arrested. They used a businessman's name, supposedly, that called them, a manager's name, that called them, told them I was dangerous, and to check me out. He said, bullshit, they're lying. Everybody in town knows you were falsely arrested. There were people that watched my car. The recorder was still in my car going. Okay. An hour or two after I was falsely arrested, cops went into my car and took my electronics out. People were watching. They swarmed the cops. They said, what are you doing? Just like we thought. You're falsely arrested, Scott, so you can steal his stuff for court. His evidence for court. Just like we thought. No. We're just making copies of it to help Scott. We're trying to help him. That's why we falsely arrested him. That's why he didn't say falsely. That's why we arrested him, so we can help him. Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, well, I'll see you later. Okay, bye. Okay, I got recordings. I got copies. I also got copies where they cut it out. Okay. They tried to arrest me in Newton, Mississippi. I had a recording of a librarian saying I almost got him. Okay, but he was too fast for him. Too smart for him. That's what it was. They sent deputy way too damn tall and way too damn dumb to falsely arrest my ass. Okay, I got hilarious recordings. Okay, but I got to Bay Springs, the librarian there turned me in because she knew the lady at McDonald's stole my license. The cop that pulled me over said, look, no problem. You know, we're going to get the dispatcher to call back to North Carolina. If they say you got a license, everything matches up with your car, you're free to go. Now, I just pulled you over with the expired tag. You said it's a postmaster. Wouldn't give you your tickets. You got evidence of that. No problem. Yeah. And, you know, you're going to be free to go. Well, call back, no record found. So, look, if you had a license there ever, it's going to say transferred to such and such a state. It's going to say transferred, suspended, or revoked. No record found means you never had a license in that state. I'm going to have to hold you. I'm not going to arrest you. I'm going to have to hold you overnight until we find out who that car owns and who you are. They electronically fingerprinted me and ran the scan overnight with the FBI. Of course, I never committed a crime. Wasn't no warrants or anything like that. I thought I was meeting a detective the next morning at 9 o'clock. No, Mr. Wilson, I'm the chief of police. The reason you're meeting me is the detective ran the same information the beat cop ran last night for that expired tag, routine traffic stop, right? Should have come back. You had a license 4 or 5 years earlier, just like you said. And I believe now everything you told that cop about the crimes back in North Carolina, because I can testify for you that somebody very high up in the North Carolina DMV is involved in this, because somebody with a very high computer security clearance went in and made it look like you'd never had a license in North Carolina. Now, in this thing, I want to show my North Carolina license. Okay? But here's the pigs that victim me here, and I got pictures of them doing it too. They followed me to the forest where I was falsely arrested. Now, they let me out in Bay Springs. Now, when I got out, I hadn't told the chief of police over there that yet. When I got out, like my IBM Lenovo ThinkPad, a lot of my shit was erased. My Lenovo IBM ThinkPad had a Retina iScan password on it, using my right eye for the password. It also had a Microsoft password. Both of those were erased. When I turned it on, it just booted up like it was no password. Okay, the half a terabyte size hard drive was chock full. You couldn't put one more MP3 in that thing. You couldn't put a kilobyte in that thing. It was just hardly. It was just chock full. You couldn't put anything of any size, like 15 kilobytes free on it. Okay, they erased 248 gigabytes of information. They also stole my Coleman cookware, stuff like that. The assholes at the jail stole my watch when I was falsely committed. It's a long story. I mean, falsely arrested in force. It's a long story. Here they are illegally evicted me from the county here. And again, I got cops that when I get it to court will testify. They're going to have to anyway because I got court date.
Yeah. The reason you here? That's what I'm doing. We're going to be here to catch up. We'll be out of the county. Is there a reason for that? Yes, it is. Why? Warm and welcome out here. Now, warm and welcome out here. So we're trying to prosecute too much crime or what? Like I said, warm and welcome out here. Okay. Well, I won't flip my eyes down. Just clean my eyes down and then flip them.
It don't matter. He's like a white guy. It's a Spanish name, right? They got them long names. And the last name comes first. So is that Mr. It? No. No. You don't look an ass, actually, to the other cop. I could be. Is that Mr. I? I mean, really, you see what I'm saying? And it goes on and on. Okay, now this thing's been going on a long time. All right? It's an hour and 44 minutes long. Now, what I want to do is put together, okay, a PowerPoint presentation. The purpose for this MP3 right here, and of course there's a ton of shit I didn't explain. I got documentation for all this stuff also. Okay, and Chief Tolliver, you know for a fact, your dispatcher told you I'd never had a license in North Carolina. There's no record found. You admitted the same thing. Oh, you didn't admit, you told me. Yeah, that's exactly right. It would say transferred, revoked, suspended. Okay, and you tell me that the cops over in New York told you your license was suspended? I said, yeah. And there's a hell of a lot of crime over there too, involved in the hotel working with these people. Now, I've got all the evidence, I already sent it to people, and I proved hacking 2 or 3 ways on Sunday over there, including somebody from the hotel, okay, the owners and or the manager was manipulating the Wi-Fi signal. Okay, here I just get hacked like severely. Okay, and I proved that, of course, with Microsoft the other night, and I got recordings of that too. I got shitwads of stuff. Now, the purpose is just to cover my ass here, okay? And I may stay in this town a while. Now, I don't know where I'm going to wind up permanently, okay? But I got to get this before a federal grand jury, or get a senator to launch a federal investigation, or an honest FBI to launch an investigation. Okay, there are honest FBI's, but it's like honest cops. I got honest cops that would love to testify if I ever get into court, but they're scared of these people. Like I said, I got veterans that spent their entire lives. The last several years of their career, they dealt with generals day in and day out. They spent their entire lives traveling all over this world, jumping out of airplanes, hunting down this nation's enemies, and killing them or capturing them. They're scared of these people. Okay, they're above the law. They're even above the church. I just made this, just a few recordings, the 22 snippets here, that I just made just to kind of show. Now, I got all the documentation to go with this. When I put the documentation with it and how I document stuff, it'll blow your mind. Okay, it's 13/10 now. It's April the 3rd, 2013. Okay, I'm at the Western Inn in Livingston, Alabama. This is Scott Dog. Signing off. This was a little recording for Chief Tolliver, maybe the folks at Mother Jones, maybe Fox. And again, people think I hate everybody. I don't, especially independent of me. Okay, I'm just hurt severely. Okay, my father's hated me since I can remember. The nut don't fall from the tree. He was nice to my sister. She wound up like him. I was raised by my grandparents. They were my legal guardians. And I wound up just as honest. My father was known as the biggest liar in Greer. My grandfather was known as the most honest man in Greer. I'm just like my grandfather. My second ex-wife once said, people think, you're this big jovial, big hairy, white southern guy. People don't know Scott. They know you're fluent in Japanese, but they don't know that inside of you is a little bitty old, really conservative Japanese man. I laughed. I said, no. I said, there's really a little bitty old, small town southern man inside of me. A Christian man. That's him right there. My grandfather. I got a lot of Uncle Steve in me too, though. But anyhow, and let me sign off here again. It's 13/11. It's April the 3rd, 2013. It's Wednesday. And this was a recording just for Chief Tolliver and a few locals around here to cover my ass. I proved to some, I don't know what they were doing. It was typical reaction ambushes over there at the Mexican restaurant the other day. The Mexican restaurant folks were real nice, and other people would say, oh, I feel sorry for them. When I pulled out, Hop Sing, my Lenovo IBM ThinkPad, I pulled out Hop Sing and I just played the recordings here of the FBI and explained what was going on. I started to do this whole thing right here, and I couldn't. They said, you got to stop that, Scott. Raymond came over, the manager. He's a real nice guy. You can't be playing in here. You proved your point. And everybody in this town knows the FBI's in on it. That table that seemed like they hated my ass, and they were, this smart ass from Martin, that smart ass from Martin. All of a sudden they were laughing, and people were saying this and saying that, and they had heard, well, that's true too, and of course, and the whole mood changed in the whole damn restaurant. Now my fajitas went cold in the meantime, but nevertheless I proved my point. Okay, and 911 wasn't called there that night. Okay, and that's the purpose of this MP3. Okay, I'm going to put it up on it, send it email, I guess, if I can. Break it up. I'm getting ready to give it to a good acquaintance here and a couple more folks. And it's raining, so I won't give it across the street today. Not yet, anyway. And I'm going to call and have an officer pick it up for Chief Tolliver. Just let him put it in his car's MP3 player. He got a nice pickup. And pop it in that player, and while he's driving around town, it's an hour and 49 minutes long. Okay, because I explained all this shit. Now, when I do the PowerPoint presentation, I'm going to do it in movie format. Okay, it's going to have audio and all of that stuff. I wish I had a movie camera. I could have myself reading it interspersed with showing the presentation, but I'll just do the presentation. It's got shitwads of evidence. I'm going to put the evidence here of the hacking here, and the hotel people here are real nice. At the Western Inn. They're nice folks, as far as I can tell. Shane is mostly who I deal with. The lady, the owner's nephew, seems like a nice guy. And the other fellow that helps clean the rooms, he's real nice. And that's who I always see. He just came by earlier. And we'll just see what happens. And I'm looking to get an apartment here if I can't go anywhere else, and I'll stay here at least a few months, or until I get justice done. And I may start a little business here on the side, doing websites, fixing computers, things like that for people on the side, just to pick up some funds because nobody would donate a red cent. I'd like to get the dog show going, which is a broadcast company, and get a syndicated column. Okay, I want to keep trying to do that, but everybody's scared. Okay. And I've had person after person say, look, Scott, I sent you $500, man. I sent you $20. I ain't got shit. I'll show postal crime. I'll show crime on the part of PayPal. Or with PayPal, it at least looks suspicious. I show outright horrific crime by Office Depot. Coleman Company. Coleman. I've been camping so long, I don't even remember not camping. I started camping when I was so young. I don't remember not camping. Coleman Company. Wonderful company. They're asshole criminals living in it. I proved the criminal involvement of a rogue Microsoft employee. I hope to God he's a rogue employee and I ain't got Billy Gates as an enemy. I love Billy Gates at Microsoft. I've seen him places all the time in spite of that asshole. Okay? But anyway, it's 13/13. It's April the 3rd, 2013. It's Wednesday. This was MP3 for Chief Tower. There were about 22 snippets on here. I got thousands and thousands of recordings, folks. This is the tip of the iceberg. Just wanted to prove that Scott's not a liar. They are. That's a direct quote from a grandmother, a Canadian grandmother, to her grandchildren when they came to warn me that my eavesdropping is also broadcast in Canada. All right. Scott Dog signing off, y'all. All right, it's 1336, the 3rd of April 2013. It's Wednesday at the western end. These are some snippets I'm going to put in the CD for Chief Oliver that will follow this. I'm just doing the snippets as they are, and then I will explain in the CD to Chief Oliver. Look for in a couple or 3 days the full-length PowerPoint presentation in the form of a YouTube video explaining everything with documented evidence and tons more stuff, tons more recordings and everything else. These are just some recordings that some people have heard before that I'm putting on the CD for the Chief here. The first time I went out to eat here was to Pizza Hut, and they called the police on me at lunchtime. I'm sitting there minding my own business. A few people saying this, a few people saying that. Of course, people know me everywhere I go. He came to check me out. Unfortunately for my enemies in other states, and maybe here too, they said a cop instead of a pig. That's what it seems. And but these are for the Chief, just to let him know what's going on. And because there was, when I went for my Easter dinner over at the Mexican restaurant across the street, nice folks over there, but some of the customers thought I was a liar, and they were judgmental, and they were this and they were that, until I played these little recording snippets right here, the actual FBI, and I started explaining a little bit, and they quickly realized I was telling the truth about everything. Okay, so just to cover my ass here, let me play these snippets, and then after this, I'm just going to play them just straight through, no explanation. Then in the recording you'll hear an explanation, me kind of rambling. It goes on for about an hour and 49 minutes. So this is it. Now the PowerPoint presentation, of course, will be a lot better. It'll be to the point and everything else. Let me just play this here. And of course, I'm going to get copies of this around town.
I told you what I wrote, and then I said I walked into McDonald's and somebody said exactly what I wrote. And I don't know if I repeated it or if they actually read it. I don't know what the hell was going on. But I was wondering if I could get this thing checked out somehow. There may be nothing. I don't. There has to be something. There's something. There's got too much documentation in all of this for nothing to be going on. I'm trying to live in this fishbowl.
Okay. Well, there's nothing we can do for you immediately. Just really, that's not something that would be of a law enforcement nature. You know what I'm saying? I really don't even know what to suggest except for maybe take it to a mechanic and have him give it a once over.
That's the Nashville FBI's IT agent, Dwayne Owens. He does their hacking for them.
So my point is that it's not a law enforcement matter, okay?
But somebody bugging is not a law enforcement matter.
Yeah, actually it would be. That's something you need to work out. You need to find out first if it's true. And secondly, if you discover it's true, you need to take it to the police department and have them find out who it is that's driving your car.
I can't get the police department to investigate a big lot.
Well, that's funny. Wait a minute. there's nothing we can do for you, law enforcement, okay? So, have a good day.
Yes. I was wondering, I have been instructed by someone in law enforcement to have my car checked to see for possible bugs or anything like that. First of all, what are the laws about bugging a car or a phone or something like that?
Bugging the phone is you have to have a court order to do that.
But what about a car? Dropping a listening device in or something like that?
That would be take a court order also, sir.
It is not a crime to take a picture of an officer in a uniform. It is not a crime. I was threatened with arrest for doing so. When hanging them evidence of a serious crime.
Look at us looking here, you know. If you call this moment today, I'm going to show you for a phone call. I don't have time to talk to you. Nobody in my department has time to talk to you. We cannot help you with your problem in South Carolina. You have no business.
These crimes, there are crimes that took place in Buncombe County.
What I'm telling you is what you will. Do not call my phone number anymore. I will arrest you tomorrow if you do. Do you understand that?
I will not call you again.
Do not call my agency anymore. We have no help for you. Your crime that you're alleging did not happen here.
It did happen in Buncombe County. It happened in Buncombe County.
I have been way too much time with you over the past couple of months. Wasting my breath with you. Do you understand that?
The crimes took place in Buncombe County.
I'm tired of talking to you. You're not calling this number again. You're not calling my agency again. If you have a problem with anybody in our agency, you can see more. Do you understand me?
I will certainly call Kim Martin. I understand what you're saying.
Do not call me again. Goodbye.
That caused a couple of minutes. In fact, I couldn't see. I went back on the road, actually. I didn't want to sit there. I was kind of blocking the entrance to the high school. I don't know what's going on at the high school. The gate looks open over there at West Henderson. That caller ended at 1824. Getting ready to email it to somebody. Scott Wilson.
Yes, it's Jeff.
Yes, this is Jeff. Actually, that's not my name, obviously, and the reason I did that is, where are you, by the way? I'm on my way down there.
That's true.
County, and I was wondering if you could get Bill Davis to use his contacts just to have it erased.
He's no longer here.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't.
Where is Bill now?
He's retired.
Is he still living in the Johnson home he's got over off Pelham Road?
I don't know.
I don't know him well enough to, I spoke to him when I saw him at parties and things like that, but I don't know him well enough to call him up and ask him something like that.
It's
going to take somebody on the inside to do it. Who handles that for you guys now?
Nobody.
So you don't have anybody fixing tickets now?
No.
I guess it was, how many employees you got now?
I'm sorry, but I can't help you with things that you're trying to deal with.
I bet Bill Davis still could.
But, I can't ask him. Why don't you ask your daddy? He's probably got some good connections.
He could probably get it done. I know people with high-powered executives, obviously. We know from past experience how easily they can do it. But if it were Greer, my father probably could, but my father's not willing to help me.
Well, you have to be on his good side.
I'll never forget. I went in the day after you met her. You spent a long time with her. I came in and sat down and said, "So what do you think of my wife?" He turned around and said, "In my 18 years of marriage, I've got 2 master's degrees, and in my 18 years of marriage counseling, I've never met a female bitch of my life." Those are your exact words, and you jumped back. You did not mean to say that, but it came out of your mouth. And after it came out of your mouth, you completely said it. You didn't know what to say.
I do remember referring to me as a bitch.
Yeah.
On more than one occasion, but
you remember
I don't know that I said it quite that.
You remember telling me that one time, at some point during my counseling, when I was going through the divorce, your marriage counseling for me and Kumi, you told me that, I'll never forget what you said. You said, I think your exact words were, quote, "Scott, you are surrounded by cruel and selfish people. And if by the time this divorce is over with, if you could ever trust another living human being, I'll be amazed," unquote. And I can still hear you say those words. And, for the longest time I thought you were right. But I can see light at the end of the tunnel. I don't remember, you recall the situation when you told me that? I just remember those words. I don't remember the whole meeting. Just that part of the meeting.
No, I remember, I don't know if those were my exact words, but it would have been something similar.
Yes, I'm accustomed to being formal proceedings involving. Well, sir, this is a formal court at this point, and I will hold you to it. And if you step out of bounds 1 inch, you will regret it. I'll make it clear as a bell. Anything that you do that I perceive to be intimidating to this lady, I hold you in contempt. Do you understand me? This will be very subjective on my part. Get over my frustration. All right, that's it. That's it.
Let me ask my question.
No, sir. This case is over. This case is over. I'm going to rule.
All you're asking is for possession. So it's been granted. Let's say no. I will in district court.
That's the business. You say another word here, this gentleman's going to escort you to jail. One more word. I honor the
guys that entered a 50 deed is letting you from that house right now.
Where do I get a copy of that? Can I pick it up at the judge's office?
You need to go to your attorney's office.
How do I retrieve a copy of that?
You go to your attorney, get your attorney to get a copy of it.
Do you have any idea why the magistrate sent me back up there? And he just happened to show up.
You need to get the car and go and leave.
We got lots of phone calls about you. So I don't know what's going on. Hey, we got some call from, I guess it's your wife's attorney that appeared in the Haslam County eviction case.
What did he have to say?
What did she have to say?
Oh, her. Okay, Cheryl.
Well, yeah, I don't even know her. Yeah, she called here all panicked, trying to leave some message, thinking that you were suicidal, made a bunch of threats, killed a bunch of people.
And, yeah, this is ridiculous. I never threatened to kill a bunch of people or any damn thing.
Well, this attorney said that you told them that you'd made some list.
And, yeah, this...
I don't know if they're trying to play this whole game of let's poison the well, so to speak.
Well, that is part of the game that's been played against me. I
understand that.
And it's very typical. You should hear the proceedings.
Behind some of this shit, too.
Do what?
I think your father's potentially behind some of this stuff.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. When I come across to you and see me mentally ill, incompetent, or anything like that.
Do you come across to me that way?
Yes.
No.
Or you threaten me in any way?
No.
Do I seem dangerous to you?
Not on the phone.
If you looked at me, you might think I'm a little worse for wear. I definitely need to shave in the shower.
Well, you're just a lot thicker than me. On the phone, I mean, just based on our conversations between Gmail and phone, I had no reason to believe it's dangerous or anything like that. I just know that if a family member who's known you for several years calls and says, hey, I've heard this, you might want to be warned, I'm going to take precautions just because I don't think that.
Well, just take that with a grain of salt, and with the fact that those family members are really covering their asses.
Correct.
They have done an awful lot of illegal things to put me in this situation, and eventually I will prevail. So you can tell them that I will prevail. I have no doubt, one way or another, and redeem my good name.
I'm trying not to talk to your dad any further than what's going on with or the ejectment. I tell him, I said, look, I can't do Buncombe County. I don't do Buncombe County. So whatever happens over there, happens over there. But, I mean, I don't think he took it very seriously because he shouldn't call anybody trying to, get anything out of it. And I just called out and stopped him and said, look, if my name is mentioned and there's a threat behind it, please let me know before it happens. I mean, that's my concern because I've got, a receptionist at the sitcom, and sometimes we don't figure about that. I sure don't want to compromise in any way. So, I mean, that was purely our concern.
I'm sitting here talking with my windows down on the street, of course. Was any information leaked to you? Had you had any information from another attorney of any sort in this state concerning this case before we went to court?
I'm not going to answer that because some of that could be privileged.
I thought so. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not. I tell you, I have not had phone conversations about it.
One more thing.
Are you recording me?
Do what?
Are you recording me?
Yes.
Pretty much, yes, and that's what... What's your name? What's your name? Don't mind. Something like an ass, actually.
All right, those are 22 snippets. It took 19 minutes to do 22 snippets, plus a little lead in here. Again, this is for Chief Tolliver, just to let him know that I'm not bullshitting about this stuff. That last group was over in Smith County, Mississippi. They followed me, like I say. They put me on trespass notice from Smith County, which is illegal as hell. Then they followed me through Scott County to the city of Forest, like 17 miles. Watched me going to McDonald's, and as soon as I left McDonald's, I was promptly falsely arrested. Okay, it's a long story. That was my false arrest. Let's see, before last. I've been falsely arrested and/or committed more times than I can remember. I've had at least 12 false charges that I can easily remember. The last being a felony gun charge, even though I'm kind of famous for being a crack shot. I don't even own a gun, nor do I have one with me. Someone else's. Okay, and the reason I'm unarmed is it may seem counterintuitive to do that, kind of strange, but the reason I am is because I've been threatened with death by so many police departments. Okay, I had guns pointed at me in South Carolina. Said, you're not going to prosecute anybody. I'm going to kill you if you do. You keep on. Okay, I've had to leave North Carolina because a public defender came to me and warned me that there was a police plot to kill me. Since the FBI, as you heard the initial 3 snippets here, were involved in it, turning a blind eye to it. They're so emboldened that they're laughing about it in public. I received text messages, and I had people receive text messages near me, I should say, to let me know that. And he said, yeah, so many people heard that people from church and everybody else, Scott, you got no idea how many people here are worried about you. But everybody's scared, Scott. Don't be mad at these civilians for not telling you the truth and coming forward and telling you what's going on. Scott, I'm an expert in criminal law, okay? You have no idea what these people are capable of. I'm scared of them, Scott. Okay? I would not be warning you if your physical safety and indeed your life itself is not in danger, Scott. These cops are dirty as hell. I know them. They will kill you. You need to get out of the state of North Carolina and don't come back until you get this to trial. Do not stop even to pee in North Carolina. You pee at the state line. Don't pee again until you get inside the courthouse. Do not stop for fuel. Don't stop for anything. Drive straight into the parking garage. At least going to be in the Superior Courthouse. Drive the parking garage across the street. Has security cameras. There's security cameras all across the crosswalk. Stay in that security camera zone. Goes through the metal detector. If the judge breaks, has recess for lunch, don't go to lunch. Eat out of the candy machine in the basement. You know where it is. Don't go anywhere until the judge helps you. He will help you. He's going to have to. You got so much evidence. But don't come back until you get it back in court. All right. It is April the 3rd, 2013. It's now 13:58. I'm going to make a few copies of this, pass them around town, get some to a patrolman that comes by. Hopefully Chief Tolliver's on duty, and I can give him a copy just to let him know what's going on, because I've heard false warrant this and false warrant that a couple of times here, and I know they're always working on one, and or of course a false commitment. And I've got I've got multiple mental health care experts in multiple states who will testify. It's not only my accusations that I'm mentally ill, malpractice, but it's criminal malpractice, and it's done with criminal, premeditated intent. Simply discredit me and to ruin me. And that I'm not paranoid, I'm merely suspicious. This is a direct quote from my medical record. Scott is accused of being paranoid. Scott is not paranoid, he is merely suspicious. And suspicious with very good reason. If it's it. Scott would have to be a dumbass not to be suspicious. If there's one thing Scott is not, it's a dumbass. Okay? Now, I've Kulinosuke, he's a Japanese general, I've Kulinosuke for many years to collect this evidence. I've got it. I need to get before court. Okay? I will be filing a police report about the hacking here, like I told you, Chief Tolliver. When I get it together, I had Microsoft verify the other night another case of hacking. Okay, and I just want to let you know those 23 recordings, of course, was the FBI IT agent who does the hacking for the actual office. Normally, you meet with field agents. He apologized to me the last time I walked out of that office. Said, Scott, I'm sorry. They won't help you, and they're doing this to you. The field agents maybe come meet you. Normally, I don't meet a victim or a witness unless they need to call me in to explain something of a technological nature or to explain something to them of a technological nature the person's trying to explain. Otherwise, I never meet a victim or witness. I'm sorry. They're doing this to me. 1400 exactly. April 3rd, 2013. This was just a snippet from Chief Tolliver's CD. The CD with limited explanation, although it is 149 minutes long, follows this track right here.